Hello everyone and welcome to your fourth Java tutorial. In this tutorial we're going to be covering the fundamentals to object-oriented programming. So what exactly is object-oriented programming? Object-oriented programming is a type of programming that makes your life a lot easier because it organizes your code and it allows for a lot more functionality. So I already have a few stuff done. I'll quickly run through exactly what I have here. So here is an employee class. If you're wondering how I got these three tabs, all you have to do is right click on com.company, highlight new, and click on Java class. And if you want to choose an abstract class, which is right here, you're going to have to choose an interface. And then we want to just name it something, like anything you want. So we're just going to get rid of that. So let's first begin by going over the basics. So what exactly is a class? A class is literally just like a blueprint. It holds a whole bunch of instance variables and methods and stuff that allow you to make objects out of it. So let's pretend you have a blueprint for a house. All the houses that you make from that blueprint are the objects of the blueprint, or the objects of the class. So the individual houses are the objects. This is exactly the same. So we have an employee class. This is known as the parent class because it's the highest up on the hierarchy. Now we have a manager class as well, and a manager is an employee. We're going to be making another employee named Dave. He's going to inherit everything from the employee class because he too is an employee. A manager also inherits everything from the employee class because he also is an employee, but he has something a bit different that's special just for him. And we're going to be talking about interfaces in just a little bit. So let's go over what exactly is written here. As you can see, we have a constructor. When you make an object, a constructor basically allows for everything to be constructed from it. So it holds all the different variables and instances that is required and is set for the object. So when we make a manager, he's going to have a name, an age, and an ID. When we make the Dave employee, he's going to have name, age, and ID as well. Underneath here, we have a method called getName, and all it does is it returns the name. That's all it does. Then we have a setName, which, as you probably guessed, it sets the name to something, which we write in here, which is known as a parameter. This is a well-known concept. Get and set methods, they literally just get you the name and they set a value. Right here we have something extra. We have a GetInfo method. This method prints out the name, the age, and the ID of the object, or all these things, which we will customize. It's not going to just be name, age, and ID. We're going to pass values into it. So we have a manager right here. And actually, before I even do that, I'll go ahead and make that Dave class right now. So hit right click, go over new, and hit Java class. And we're going to name this man Dave. So Dave doesn't have anything written in here. We want all the variables inside Dave to inherit from all the values inside the employee class. So this is known as the child class. The child always inherits from the parent. Pretty intuitive, right? That's what happens in real life. The parent never inherits from the child, but the child always inherits from the parent. We want to inherit everything from the employee class, so the parent class. How do we do that? All we do is we write extends employee. Now, it's giving us an error because we have no default constructor, and I'll cover that in just a little bit. But basically what this means is that the class Dave is inheriting, so it extends from the parent class employee. That's all it says. Now, the issue with this is that there's no default constructor. Let's go ahead and make that. So remember, a constructor always has the same name as the class itself. So Dave, if we want to make a constructor for him, we're going to use his name. So we're going to use the name Dave. Dave, and followed by brackets and curly braces. Now, what's the issue here? So all the values that it's supposed to inherit from, it has nothing. So it has to get those values somehow. So all we're going to do is copy and paste these values and put it in here. Now what's the issue? In order to inherit values, we're going to have to use a keyword called super. And in the brackets here, we're going to list out the variable names. So name, age, and int. ID. So notice it does not have the data type. There's no data type required. So we don't have to worry about that. It's just the variable name. Now he has a name, an age, and an ID. If we want to make him do something, like for example, let's say that the company has a secret room that's only accessible to the manager but not the employees. So in this case, Dave. Dave can't access the room. So what we're going to do is we're going to, if you notice here, we have a public void get access to show you that this is pretty much copy and pasted, but just with a different message. I'm going to copy and paste, not touch the name or anything, and oops, we're going to write, you do not have access to the room. But the manager does. To the secret room. But the manager does. How does this happen? So if you notice here, we have something called implements accessible. And what this allows the program to do is it accesses a class-specific method. This is known as an interface, and interfaces are basically contracts. They do something specific for each subclass, so it's class-specific. So for the manager, we have some message, and for the employee, we have a different message. So this guy, we're going to do implements accessible. And now we can call these two methods once we make the object. Let's go ahead and make the object. So we're going to go into the main folder and notice that, remember, let's think back to the very first tutorial. All the code in main gets executed first. So we're going to make the objects right here. Here I already have manager. We just named him manager. We could have named him Loopy, but we would have to change all these as well. So let's just leave it as manager for now. And then new manager, and in here we pass, remember, we have a name, an age, and an ID. So there's specific data types as well. So we have a string, an int, and an int. String, an integer, and an integer. So we have loop, he's age 40, and his ID is 10053. And now, in order to use the class-specific stuff, like GetInfo, GetName, GetAccess, we're going to write the name, and then we're going to press dot or period, and then it's going to show us everything that it has access to. So we can get the info, we can get access, name, age, ID, we can get the name, we can set the name, and so many more, but you don't have to worry about these ones. So we're just going to print get access, and let's see what it does for this guy specifically, but we're going to make an employee, Dave. So the class name is Dave. He's just called Dave, I guess. New Dave, which is the class name, and we're going to write Dave as his name, of course. He's, let's say, 32 years old, and his ID is 20, 4, 7, 8, I don't know, just random numbers. And now, for this guy, we're going to get the access, and then we're also going to get his info, and let's see what this does. We're going to hit print. There we go. So, the first guy says, you have access to the secret room. And then his name is Luke. He's age 40 and his ID is 10053. Now for Dave, he does not have access to the secret room because this is class specific, and Dave does not have access since he's an employee. And it prints out Dave, he's 32 years old, and the ID is 204078. So just to recap, inheritance just inherits from the parent class. So the child classes, Dave, manager, inherit from the employee class, so they have access to name, age, and ID. And then interface, which is a contract, allows for things to happen specifically for subclasses. And that's pretty much all there is to it. This might be a challenging concept to grasp initially, but the more you practice, the more you'll get used to it, and the better you will become at programming object-oriented related stuff. You can see how it reduces a lot of clutter, it makes everything super organized, and it allows a lot of functionality. So instead of having to print out millions of different variables, we can just make millions of different objects of the class. Thank you so much for watching. If you didn't understand, please watch this video again until you do, because this is a very, very important concept to grasp. It took me a while to understand this at first, but as I practiced this more and more, it started to make more sense. So everything at one point will just click. Thank you guys for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the very next tutorial where we will discuss my favorite concepts, data structures and algorithms.